and welcome to another Purveyor of Light Photoshop quick tip. Today we've got a most commonly asked question is how I approach editing a photo, how my brain operates on looking at a photo, and so I figured, okay, let's go ahead and take us through a workflow. I'm just going to warn some of you guys because I know some of you guys worry about the length of a YouTube video. This is going to be a little bit longer than normal, but this is just for me to explain what goes on in my brain when I look at a photo and how I go about editing it. Okay, so here we are. I've got a nice photo of a C5, and I look at it and I immediately go, where does my eye go? Okay. And for me, okay, it's a toss up between the aircraft cockpit area with the glow behind or this leading line here on the taxiway. Okay. So very important when working with a photo is I got to say, where do I want the viewer's eye to go? Okay, do I want it to focus in on the leading line? Do I want it to go straight to the cockpit of the aircraft? And I have to make that decision before I start doing any edits at all. Okay, is where do I want the focus to be drawn immediately? Okay. The next thing I look at a photo is I say, what are my distractions? What don't I like about this photo? Okay, and there's quite a few things in here that I just don't like. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a new layer here just so I can show you illustration-wise. This car has got to go. Okay, it just takes away from the image. Here on the tarmac, you'll look at this normal discolorations and changes in tones and so forth. You know, all the way through here and here and here. I don't like that. It takes away from the photo as well. Okay, so these are elements that are distracting my eye, and they just need to be corrected. The other thing too is I dive in and I look at the yellow line here with the black stripes in that, and I go, well, it's faded here, it's a little dull here, and I would really like this leading line to stand out in the photo. So right here, it's faded, and here it's a little bit discolored. These are all things that I want to address in the photo. And I'll either remove them or I'll enhance them, or a combination of the both. The last thing I look at is the sky. I love the sky. It's beautiful. It's got great detail in it, a little bit of drama. I feel we can leave the sky more or less intact, except maybe let's bring in just a little bit more a contrast into it. Bring up a little more structure into the sky. Lastly, I look at this and I go, it's a beautiful picture, but I want to move the lighting a little bit, okay, so that the eye is drawn to where it needs to be in the photo. And so these are all things that go through my mind. So there we are. That's how my brain looks at a photo before I even do one single edit. My eye analyzes the entire photo first. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in here. I'll turn this off, and I'm going to go ahead and start working the edits, and I'm going to utilize everything I can to make it a fast edit. Okay, so you don't get overly bored. Okay, so I'm going to throw this layer away, and we're back with just the background layer. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is that pickup truck has got to go. And I'm going to say, well, what's the easiest way to get rid of it? I'm going to try content aware fill. It may not work. It may work. Okay, so I'm just going to come up, edit, and content aware. And Photoshop's going to work its magic. And Photoshop has done a great job. So I'm just going to go ahead and accept the defaults. And there we are. So our first distraction has been removed from the photo. Piece of cake. The other thing here is I'm not liking this tarmac, and it's just distracting from the image, and it could be pretty messy to try and fix this. But I'm going to go ahead and try. Okay, I'm going to try to utilize the Polygonal Lasso tool, and I'm going to come in on it. Actually, yeah. Let's see. I'm analyzing the mess. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a pen tool, actually. So I'm going to pick up on this line. I'm going to leave this line in place. So I'm just going to pick a line here and draw a path. And I'm going to draw a path out. And there we have a completed path in this area here. I'm going to go ahead and right click and make it a selection. Make selection. We'll feather it a little bit, 3 pixels. Okay, so now I've got that area, and let's see what Photoshop can do for me. I need to be on the layer here. All right. So actually I'm going to flatten the image first. Okay. So I'm working on one layer. All right, so now I'm going to see what it can do for us on Edit Content Aware. Didn't do quite too good of a job, so I'm going to remove some of the area here to try to get a better fix on it, so that anything that's in the green area is what Photoshop's going to use to analyze. So I'm just removing some of it till I get the appearance that I want, and I think that's looking pretty good. There we are. So deselect, and it looks good. A little blotchy, but we'll take care of that in a little bit. We'll take care of the blotchiness a little bit further down. Now this area here is also bothering me. This shadow, dark, whatever it is, maybe old runway marks, they're distracting to me as well. So I'm going to try to work with these and do the same thing. So I'm going to take the pen tool again, and I'm just going to roughly select. Okay, so now I have that area there. I'm going to right click and make it a selection again. I'll feather it so it's not a hard edge. All right, so there. And let's see again if I can call upon, let me flatten the image again. Let me call upon Photoshop's Miracle Content Aware Film. See what it does. Okay, it didn't do too good there. Made a big mess of things. So let me see if I can fix it. I'll remove part of the aircraft here. That shouldn't be anything part of the extraction. Let's see how that does. Okay, that helped a little bit, but we're still getting an awful lot. It's picking up the black line. So I'm going to remove the black line from the selection. See if that helps. And that's looking a lot better. Okay, and I think I'm going to go with that. I could do some touch up at the end of this. I like that though, but it's gotten rid of most of that stuff. And deselect. Now you'll notice, in the areas we have some blotchiness and some corrections to be able to be done, but we can take care of that. Okay, and I'm going to leave that toward the end of fixing the tarmac here. The other thing too is the lines. Okay, if we're looking at the lines of the yellow paint and the black paint on the tarmac, again, because it's fading and dirty and discolored, and this one's a little lighter black and this one's a darker black, this looks freshly painted. So let's see here. I accidentally hit the path. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flatten the image because I am happy with it. Okay, and so I think we're actually looking pretty good now. You know, we've removed that truck vehicle right away. We've cleaned up the tarmac, and we'll just continue on here working the little bit of differences. The tarmac, I'm looking at the differences here. I'm going to go ahead and try to fix this up. I might be pushing my luck a little bit, asking for Photoshop to do all its wondrous content-aware fill, but I can't help it. It does a great job. So, make selection, feather it, and let's see how it does on the content-aware fill. And it did its usual great job. So I'm going to accept that. Like I said, I try to do a lot of the heavy lifting, let Photoshop do the calculations and do it for me. I'll come in and do a little bit of touch-up on this. I can live with this now. I just have a little bit of repeating patterns in here, a little couple straight lines, but we can take care of that. And I'm going to try to use the spot healing brush, and I'm going to make sure my brush is here, and I'm just going to do a little spot healing, try to blend the areas better. Okay. Try to just come in and just wherever we're getting the repeating patterns, try to get them off with the spot healing. We're not expecting perfection because I am going to run a blur over this tarmac to bring the colors together. Okay. That's looking pretty good. I think we have improved the tarmac considerably. And now we have to address, come in here and just touch these few areas. Okay. So I'm happy with that. Okay. It is a tarmac, so it doesn't have to be absolute pristine because then it would look fake. But I am going to try to fix these black lines and these yellow stripes on the tarmac because I do want this line to act as a leading line in the photo to draw you to the subject. So I want to emphasize that by increasing them. Okay, so we are going to take the time. I'm going to go use the pen tool again, and I'm just going to carefully select the pen and draw a path. And again, I'm only concerned about where it's, it's starting to fade. And come in and just do a path around here. And there. Okay. So now I have a path. Now I'm going to convert it to a right click and convert it to a selection. Okay. And I'm going to make a new layer before I do anything, and that is going to give me a layer here that I can just paint on. I'm going to take the eyedropper and select this black here because that's where it's the strongest and boldest. And now using that with a paintbrush, I am going to very carefully, I'm going to reduce my flow to maybe 35% or so. And because I made the path, I don't have to worry about, coloring within the lines. I can just be a rough thing here and come in and do this. And that evens it out. Okay, and now I need to change the blend mode from normal to color. Okay. And actually I'm going to change it to probably overlay. Yeah. That looks pretty good. Alright, so now we'll deselect, and we're going to drop the opacity just ever so slightly, okay, till we get to a happy medium of believability. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we do have a hard edge on this, so I need to use the smudge tool. Can honestly say I don't use this tool much, but where's the smudge tool? Sponge tool. There's the smudge tool. That shows you how much I actually use the smudge tool. Okay. And I just want to turn around and just blend in these areas so there's not a hard line. Okay. Just to make the appearance a little bit less. All right. So let's take a look out here what we've done. It's not looking too bad so far. And now I need to turn around and take care of that yellow line. I'm not even going to bother with the black line on the other side. That's a natural light fade off, so I'm happy with that. But we got to do the black, so I'm going to pen off the yellow line. And just do another one like this. Okay, and we'll make this a selection again. Okay, and I'll make a new layer here, and now I'm going to take the eyedropper and select the yellow line here, and I'm just going to go ahead and paint with a soft brush, and I'm just going to go with a very low flow. Okay, and I am just going to just carefully dose in the line. Okay, and deselect, and now I'm going to drop the opacity down. Okay, because again, I want it to be realistic. I don't want it to be obvious that it's hard in there. Okay, so that looks better. I dropped the opacity down to 50%, and see the difference here, but it still looks like it's a believable line. Okay, so now we're doing pretty good. We've removed the car, we've removed the things, we've cleaned up the tarmac, we brought back the taxi lines. It's less distracting. Now I have a leading line that really does draw the user right to the aircraft, and that's exactly what I'm going for. Okay, so now the last thing I need to do is I need to fix up this tarmac because all this work in it, you can see some artifacts here and there. I need to remove those, clean it up, make it more believable. So I'm going to now right click and flatten the image. Okay, so now that it's flattened, I'm going to take the pen tool again. Seems to be my favorite tool today. And I'm going to just take a really rough selection. Doesn't have to be perfect, okay? This is just really rough. And come around. So I just select just the tarmac area, okay? I don't want to affect any other part of the image. Make a selection. And so now this is the only part that is selected. And I just want to maybe put a little bit of noise. Maybe let's just do a blur first, okay? So I'm going to take a blur, and I'm going to do a Gaussian blur. And I'm not going to do too much, okay? But again, you see how that's bringing up, I don't know how well that's showing up on the video, but I'm bringing the tarmac together, all right? And that's what I'm going for. And maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I think that 4.8, pretty good. So I hit OK. So I've got my Gaussian blur. I now have a believable tarmac. I've removed those ugly lines that we've had. The last thing I want to do is I want to bring back a little texture to make everything more believable, because tarmac is concrete. So I'm going to go to filter, and I'm going to take noise. Yeah, I'm going to bring some noise in. Add noise. And how much I do? Well, we'll see here. I'm going to move it. That's way too much. You can't do too much because you don't want it to look fake. All right, I'm going to drop it down a little more. 2.4. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's good. 2.4, just the right amount of noise to put a little texture in the tarmac. Deselect. Okay. So now we've got it, and if everybody remembers what we came from, we had a really messy tarmac, a lot of extra lines, a lot of blemishes in the tarmac. We had that stupid pickup truck that was distracting from the photo. I think we've really done a good job of cleaning things up. Okay, so lastly, I look at the photo and I go, okay, this is where I would normally walk away from the photo and go get a cup of coffee, let my eyes take a rest, and come back and look at the photo. But I'm just going to go ahead and push forward here in the interview, on the video. All right, so I'm looking at the sky. I'm going, I do want more contrast and texture in the sky. And I even at this point would like a little extra on the tarmac. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm also going to do what is, in my opinion, wrong with the photo, okay? And that is, I want to focus the eye to a particular part of the photo, and I think a vignette would be the perfect tool to do that, so that I can draw the image, the person, to that aircraft, okay? One of the biggest mistakes that I think people do in editing their photos is it's flat lighting. In other words, if you look at this thing, it's bright from edge to edge, okay? And that's not real life, okay? That's not what we're looking for. We need to make the eye go to where we want the subject. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this. Say, okay, I think this looks pretty darn good. I'm going to make a copy of this just in case things don't go right. And I'm going to go up to filter. I'm going to go up to the Nick collection, one of my favorite, Color FX 2. Let it churn here. Okay. And we will, let's see, we're going to use my favorite tonal contrast. Yeah, adding contrast into the picture. So we're going to go with that. And let's see, I'm going to add a filter on top of that. And I'm going to just do a vignette. Like I said, I want to focus the eye to the aircraft. Now, if you look at the photo the way it is right now, we're evenly lit across the whole sky. We're evenly lit on the tarmac all the way across. yes, it's a pretty picture, but I want to take it one step further by focusing the eye and bringing the drama to the subject. And I think a vignette will do that. So we're going to go with a vignette on top of it. And there it is right there. Okay, with a vignette. And I'm going to show you here by taking off the vignette, just the vignette, not, okay. There's the flat lit photo. There's the vignette, okay, and you can adjust it to how you want, but I'm liking that. Now, the leading line is now predominant in the photo. The tarmac is, the light is dropped off on the edges, and my light is focusing on the subject. My eyes are now drawn directly using this line, leading line, and to the aircraft. There's my subject. There's my photo. So I'm going to hit OK. And we're going to apply that vignette. And there we are. I think we got a keeper there. I think that we have taken it now from a great photo to an even greater photo. So, all right. So hopefully you got a little insight into what my mind looks like when it works on a photo. Again, that's how my mind works. I look for drawing the eye. I look for light parts, dark parts, and distractions. And I try to do that with every photo that I do edit. So hopefully you found this useful. Hopefully I didn't put you guys all to sleep. I just wanted to let you know how my thought process was when editing a photo. Till next week, you guys take care.